Hey everybody, Omar Phoenix here, and welcome to Confessions of a Former Mean Gay. I hope you all are having a fantastic day and staying warm and dry wherever you are here in this wonderful nation of ours. Those of you who know me, those of you who follow me and have done so for the last several years, know that I am a dog owner and I'm also a cat owner. I have 3 dogs. I have a red heeler, I have a German shepherd, and I have a Shiba Inu. And then I also have a little tuxedo kitty that came to live with me after a friend of mine lost his battle with ALS a couple of years ago. I actually was a cat person before. I had 2 rescue kitties. One of them, Lemon, she was a ragdoll Siamese mix. She was a little chonker, kind of like this cute red panda that a friend of mine gave me for Christmas a couple years ago. And then the other was a domestic short-haired tabby named Sugar. And I had Lemon since May of 2008, and I had Sugar since September of 2009. The interesting thing is, though, I've always grown up around animals. I had dogs and cats growing up, going as far back as I can remember. The friend of mine who actually gave me this red panda, he's a cat person through and through. He's always had kitties, and so that's kind of like what really still keeps our bond going. We're always sending each other like kitty memes and videos on Instagram, even the ones that are like AI, which I think are really, really funny. Like there was one that I saw that was like more obvious, but the cats were like riding pigs and the cats were like playing trombones and trumpets. I just thought it was funny. I don't always love AI, but when it's used like that just to be like more comical, I love it. I've had my dogs since 2014. Nilla Wavers, my red heeler, has been my dog since July of that year. And then Bo Beans, my German shepherd, and Loki Mouse, my Shiba Inu, they have been my dogs since May of 2015 and October of 2015, respectively. Now, in my other life, I am a dog trainer, I'm a dog walker, I'm a behaviorist. And so Bo and Loki came to me from former clients. And it's not these people who are just leaving their dogs on the street. I hate that, by the way. But they did all the work. And sometimes life circumstances happen where you just acknowledge, I've done what I can. I've done my best. Sometimes my best isn't good enough, and maybe there's another way. And thank God I was the other way. Bo and Loki came to live with me, and Nilla, Bo, and Loki have been just like a little trio of amazing, amazing companions for me for now over a decade. Something interesting that my friend said to me, though, was that he's afraid of them. And I'm sure that people who are dog lovers will probably react and say something akin to, no, they're my babies. They're so sweet. They're so friendly. And you just got to get to know them. My response to my friend was, you should be. And his eyes kind of got big. And I'm like, well, these are working breed dogs. Nilla is a herding breed dog. Bo is a herding breed and a protection breed dog. Loki is a hunting breed. I don't know if y'all knew that Shiba Inus are hunting breed dogs. But he just kind of took pause. And I'm like, you should be scared of them. They're dogs. And the funny thing is, I'm probably going to have a lot of animal activists come in the comments and see, oh, you're stigmatizing these breeds. I mean, don't get me started on pit bulls. I love pit bulls. I've worked with pit bulls, but I've also seen the damage that pit bulls that are not properly trained can do. I've been doing this for almost 2 decades as a professional trainer and dog walker and behaviorist. So I know what I'm talking about. I'm not just going to get my advice from, some random trainer that does a cute video with a ukulele or a xylophone playing in the background. I know what I'm talking about. But I digress. There's people who are always going to come to the defense of dog breeds because it triggers something emotional in them. my approach to it comes from experience. I've seen the damage any dog can do, and there's reasons why my 3 dogs in particular are actually on breed restriction lists for apartments and condo rentals, townhome rentals. It's understandable, but they're not aggressive dogs per se, but they are dogs. They are animals. And I think what has happened in the last, 15 years to 2 decades is that with the rise of social media and the accessibility of the internet, you see a dog on camera and it triggers something happy within you that you're just like, oh, look at this sweet animal. Look at this cuddly baby. I just want to love on it. Especially if you see like a pit bull or if you see a baby Rottweiler, you see them and you're like, oh my God, look at this adorable animal. And they are so cute. I mean, I trained my mom's 2 Rottweiler lab mixes when I was 23 years old. So I've got a pretty good handle on my experience. A roommate of mine had a pit bull and that dog was wonderful, but I also knew what that dog could do if it wasn't trained or if it didn't know somebody, if it was not properly socialized. So when my friend said, I'm scared of your dogs, I'm especially scared of Bo, I'm like, yeah, you should be. And that just kind of made him like, look at me. There was a time when another friend of mine, we're living in my house together, and it was like Halloween 2017, and I was watching my favorite Halloween movie, my favorite scary movie, which is Poltergeist. And it's the moment where the family is downstairs with the psychologist, and then the apparition comes down the stairs. And right in that moment, my friend came up behind me, and I could see Bo like make her ears go up a little bit. That's my German Shepherd. And then my friend went, rah, like scared me really loudly. And Bo immediately got up from her seat on the other couch and rushed at him. And like, there was no barking. It was just intensity. It was focus, ears up, hackles up, tail straight out. And mind you, this guy that was living with me, he and I had dated. He knew the dogs. But Bo is my dog. And her protection instincts kicked in. And I will say that she did not respect him as much after that. And he was kind of scared of her. But what do you expect? You know, you scare somebody's owner, you scare the dog's owner, and so the dog is now like, oh, is this a threat? Animals are not kids. Animals are not human. Animals are not people. Dogs are not people. And I see this all the time, especially on this platform and other platforms, that meme that goes around, your dog's not a baby, your dog's not a baby, or the other ones that are like, if I come over, you need to put up your dog. I agree with that. And I think that's going to probably offend people who are like, no, my dog's my child. Your dog is not a child. Your dog is not your child. Your dog is an animal, and it has natural protection instincts. Sometimes whatever experiences they've had in the past, if they've been in the shelter system, have made them more reactive, meaning taking things as a possible threat to their space, or more aggressive, meaning interpreting things as a target regardless of what it's doing. And I think that's where people will mislabel certain breeds. But I think that disconnect has happened on social media, and then, you know, you follow a certain creator and influencer, and you form this psychological relationship with them and with their dogs, and they're like, oh, how is my internet nephew Loki, that kind of thing. I've had that happen with my Shiba Inu. Loki's not a nice dog. And you see me cuddling my Shiba Inu and playing with him. He requires steady training. Dog training is never over. But Loki in particular, as a Shiba Inu, he is very trigger happy. He sees things as a target. He is a hunting breed dog, even though he is small, even though he's little and fluffy and cute, has that tail and has that little fox looking face. He's not a nice dog. Nilla Wafer's not a nice dog. She likes certain people, but other people, her hackles go up. She barks at them, and I correct her if I need to. But that goes back to, if somebody comes over, you need to put your dog up. I agree with that. I believe in kennel training. I believe in sending them to the room if they're properly trained. If they are destructive and they're going to rip things apart, they need to be kennel trained. And I think that a lot of these methods have been kind of lost on deaf ears because emotions have come into dog training. Emotions have come into dog ownership, to where you take this animal that you know was probably in a bad situation because of a rescue, and then the people who worked with that group said, oh, she went through this, or he got this, had this thing happen to him, or he got attacked, or she was abused, whatever. And then what happens is you just assign that history to the long-term training of that dog. That's not going to help it get better. But more than that, what really, really hurts is that if you have people you love, people who love you, come over, they're not going to want to come over anymore if you have untrained dogs who jump on them, who bark at them, who paw at them, who try to bite. And at some point, you take accountability and you take ownership. And when I told my friend sitting at dinner that day, yeah, you shouldn't trust her. You should be scared of Bo. I think we should be honest about that. But I think more than that, we should take accountability and we should take ownership of certain situations and say, yeah, maybe it would be a good idea for me to get some basic obedience training. Sit down, stay, come, leave it, heel, H-E-E-L, not H-E-A-L. I also think that if your dog has been in a shelter or a foster or rescue system, I think evaluate what issues that they might have and what tendencies that they might have. If they came from a breeder and that breeder bred certain types of dogs, especially when it came to protection breeds or herding breeds, you need to see a very specific kind of trainer for that. You can't just go and do your force-free, pure positive kind of training and expect that to be a whole catch-all. And I'm not 100% against those methods, but I do know for a fact that when you're dealing with protection breed, herding breed, guard breed, hunting breed dogs, pure positive is not going to dissuade your German Shepherd from going after a squirrel. Force-free is not going to stop your pit bull from mauling a stranger who they've never seen in their house, or another dog that they've never been around, especially if they've not been properly socialized together. And force-free and pure positive, those are not going to stop your Shiba Inu from going full throttle across the street at a cat. Dogs are going to be dogs, and I love both. And I've grown up with both, and I've had both as a dog and cat owner for now just over 12 years. And it was not easy, but you have to recognize hierarchy. You have to recognize authority and leadership. And you have to say, no, Nilla's not the leader, even though I've had her the longest. Bo's not the leader, even though she's the oldest and the biggest. Loki's not the leader, even though he's the cutest and the youngest and the smallest. The cats are not the leaders. I'm the leader. And I think that's what's missing from modern day dog training is leadership, authority, discipline, correction, command, and taking ownership and accountability and saying, you know what, this is what's happened. This is possible. And I don't want this to happen again. And I want to make sure it doesn't by exposing the dogs to these kinds of situations and then taking ownership of it right in that moment, correcting it. Those are my opinions. Those are my thoughts on it. I've had a lot of experience in it. A lot of people are going to disagree with me, especially on my use of tools, prong collars, e-collars. I use all of them. I do crate training. People, they see a dog in a crate and they're like, oh my God, your dog looks like it's in jail. And that reflex comes from your dog having been in a rescue or a shelter or a foster, and you see the pictures with the Sarah McLachlan song going on in the background, and you've been psychologically and emotionally manipulated. Let's just be honest about that. You've been played, and that's how the system wins, because then the dogs go back into that system if for some reason the situation doesn't work out for you, or, God forbid, the dog is euthanized or put down because it's hurt somebody, or it's done worse to a child or another family pet, or a neighborhood animal. And we don't want that. But the first step that we have to take is acknowledge they are dogs, they are not babies, they are not friends with your other friends. Your friends should be afraid of them, and you should put them up. You should 100% kennel train them or train them to be in a room, busy, not destroying everything. those are just my opinions. Again, my name is Omar Phoenix. Thanks again for watching Confessions of a Former Mean Gay. If you'd like to sponsor a future episode of Confessions of a Former Mean Gay, please send a minimum $50 donation to my Venmo or my Cash App right there and send the request to my DM, and I will make some magic happen for you. Continue to take great care of yourselves and each other, and God bless.